But obviously a lot changed over that period of time. So you said, early stage, a lot of hard lessons coming in, cocky from training from a previous major war being Vietnam, and how that iterated over time. What did it look like if you were to say sort of like the beginning versus the end result from your early versus late career?
Hmm.
How did your environment change within the organization? How did you kind of change?
Yeah. Well, I think technology, a lot of the technology we use today were developed because of the war, right? Everything that we're using, war forces us to evolve and adapt. And I think a lot of the technology, which is obvious, is there was a lot of changes. I think about the vehicles that we initially drove in were Humvees, unarmored Humvees,
Mm.
and the enemy adapts to that. And unfortunately, they were using IEDs, basic
Mm.
IEDs initially. So then we would armor the bottom, and then they would put IEDs in the quay walls and direct those projectiles. So then we would armor the sides, and then they were at a point where they got so sophisticated that they could just overcome any armor on a Humvee. So that's where all these new vehicles started coming into place. I remember one of the we had a multi-million-dollar vehicle called a Riva, and it was armored almost on every part except the top. Well, if you spend time in any country, but in Iraq specifically, there's bridges everywhere, and all it took was the enemy to just have a parachute grenade and start dropping, ordnance from above, and it was just like we have a multi-million-dollar vehicle that was just defeated in a matter of like probably 20 minutes of a group sitting around saying, "How do we defeat this? Oh, they're not armored on the top. Let's drop bombs from the bridge." So those are some of the technologies that evolved as leaders. I think the process and just having repetition. So, a lot of us, again, came in thinking we've gone through the same training. I didn't truly understand in the SEALs or even afterwards how important it was to have those repetitions under your belt, like Goldman Sachs and others. It's just the experience is so invaluable. And that's what allowed us to develop what we call intuition or gut feeling. Is like, no, that's thousands of reps under your belt telling you, wait a second, something's off right now. Let's take a knee on this battlefield. And why is the hair on the back of my neck standing up? Those are reps. That's thousands of iterations. So the process got really refined. We got really good through those after actions of identifying what was working and what wasn't, creating systems, creating checklists, and then in the noise and in the chaos that war is, we need to keep it simple. And checklists were a way for us to make sure we did everything that we intended to on that mission, when the bombs were going off, when people were getting shot at. So we went really back to the basics.